Just reminded me of that moment when someone sent me a message saying, hey, I'm looking to go on dating and I need if you can help me. So I said, sure, maybe, I'll send you a resume to Shira if you have a resume. I don't know if you know about resumes, but in the religious community, at least if we want to set someone up, we like to have a resume and we'll send it. Send me the resume. So he sends me, and then on it is a picture, but it's not of him. It's a picture of him and someone else. So I said, which one is you? I don't get it. Two people? What is this, a double date? Which one is you? So he says to me, I'm the one on the left. Which left? This is literally, you should see the message. Anyway, sometimes people take pictures with other people and put it as their profile picture. And they do that because, maybe they lack some inner confidence. Maybe they think, I don't look so good. So I need that guy with the big guns next to me. So anyway, when I was sitting there taking a picture with you, I was like, oh, it reminds me of that story. I was thinking that you wanted to be next to me, so you look good. No, just joking. The other way around. It was the other way around. I was next to him so that I should look good. Because I'm wearing this grey old shirt that I've been wearing for many years. And he's got this beautiful, tight top and beautiful guns sticking out. Okay. All right, so enough about him. That's actually part of what I'm going to talk about, is you shouldn't laugh at people, which I'm not. Anyway, Jewish humor in Jewish history. And we're going to be talking about that and when laughter is good and when it's not. So it says in Pirkei Avot that if you want to be a great person, this is chapter 6, Mishnah 6. Are you going to check it out for me or see if I'm lying or not? Okay, chapter 6 of Pirkei Avot, it says like this, that there are 48 ways to becoming a great person, a very wise person. And one of them is to reduce your laughter. Ooh, that doesn't sound so Jewish, does it? Because we always try and laugh all the time. So the point is that we all have to reduce our laughter in order to be a great person. It says a few things that you reduce. Mi'ut ta'anug, you reduce your pleasures. What does that mean? Does Judaism want you to not have pleasure? Does it want you to not have food? The last time I checked, every single thing we do is about food. There's nothing that doesn't have food in it, besides for Yom Kippur. And even then it's food. Do you know why? No, because all day long people are schmoozing about how they can't wait to go home and they can't wait to have their kugel, and this one's talking about his schnitzels that he can't wait to eat. And the other goes, what, schnitzel after a fast? Come on, no. You have to have eggs first. What, eggs? You have to have a cake, a coffee. Coffee, that's drying you. Yeah, this whole thought. Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay. This is what happens every Yom Kippur. So you think there's a day off from food, but oh boy, are people thinking about food, huh? So it says that you should reduce the amount of pleasures, reduce the amount of sleep. Which reminds me, the other day I started another diet because the one before that didn't work. So this is my 1,500th diet, or whatever. Lost count. I know. So, and then there's always that nice guy, Rabbi, you look good. What are you talking about? Anyway, so it says that this guy was talking about diet, and he says, good sleep. Good sleep. You have to sleep well. It helps the metabolism burn all the fats. Well, that's true, but it's not going to make you great. It might make you have a better shape for a certain amount of time, but it won't make you great. What did the rabbi say? You want to be great? Miyut, you reduce your sleep, meaning you don't sleep. Maimonides says between more than 6 to 8 hours. 8 hours is max. Someone who's sleeping more than that, what are they doing? Lazy. They're escaping. They're like, oh, I don't want to do that. What, work again? I'm sleeping. Right? For the past few months, my alarm's been going off at 5:30. And every night I have a battle in my head. Why am I doing it? Why do I put the alarm at 5:30? I only get up at 6:30, 6:15. 5:30, come on. But I'll put a few alarms. The few alarm business is the worst, because that's the thing that makes you snooze and go back to bed every time. So you go back into your sleep, and then you wake up, there's another alarm, You may as well just put one alarm, and that's it. I'm going to wake up to that one. If I miss it, I'm late. And that's what you should be doing. But that's my thought for the past, I don't know how many years. Just 2 days ago, I decided that's it. I'm done. I turned off the 5:30 alarm, and it goes off only once, and that's it. Anyway, why am I telling you that? Because the rabbis say you should have minimal amounts of sleep. You shouldn't sleep more than 8 hours. And then it says, reduce your amount of laughter. Does it say don't laugh? Does it say don't laugh? No. It says reduce laughter. Just like it says reduce sleep, and it says reduce the amount of pleasures, physical pleasures you have, meaning you should have pleasure. You should also reduce your laughter. Should we laugh? Oh yeah. Now, by the way, I call this class a class on Jewish humor, and then Shira found a much cooler title to call it. But I'll tell you this. That was only to make everyone come to the event. And actually, it's not going to be that funny tonight. No, I'm joking. It's going to be funny. I'm going to try and make it look funny. But it's not my nature. I just naturally think sometimes people laugh when I speak, but it's not my... Okay, listen to this. First of all, what's laughter? Is laughter happiness?
Not necessarily. No.
Can you be truly unhappy and laughing?
Yes.
Absolutely. What's the difference between happiness and laughter?
Fleeting. Laughter is temporary.
Okay.
Yeah, fleeting.
Okay. Don't they say that about happiness also? Happiness is also, right? How do you define it? So let me tell you a little secret. Laughter is on the outside. It's external. It could be that you're happy internally. It could be you're not. But laughter is an external expression. And we'll tell you why that happens, why that's a phenomenon, and it's a gift. Everything that happens in this world is a gift. And if you're laughing, there's a gift from God that helps you. It's a mechanism that we need to use for the good. And like everything, it can be used for good or it could be used for bad. But the real thing is that when you have happiness inside, that's happiness. Happiness is a sense of inner thought, state of mind, deeper within. Laughter is an external expression. What are you expressing? We have to know our terms. What is laughter? So listen to this. This is the Jewish definition of laughter. Laughter is when you are going in a certain direction, or someone is going in a certain direction, and suddenly everything goes the other way around. Okay? Let's say this happened once. I was giving a Taco Tuesday, and someone was meant to be looking after my baby. Back then, it was probably about 6 years ago. It was probably either Bathsheba when she was a baby or Abraham. And I'm giving my class and, teaching my thing, and all of a sudden out of my bedroom comes Abraham, but not just the baby. He was a little baby, like Miriam's age, my baby now. He comes out, and that was part of the excitement. And then, what does he have with him? He has with him all of my socks and all of my stuff, and he's wearing one of my shoes, and he's opening the door and he's coming out. Right? Go figure. Can I teach when that happens? Can I be talking in class? And everyone just burst out laughing. Why did they laugh? Because my class is going in one direction, and suddenly it turns in the other. And when things are going against expectation, it makes us laugh. Do you know who had that the most? Where do we see that story in the Torah? Right, with Moses there's a story, we'll talk about that. We see it by Sarah. She was told that she's going to have a baby. And how old was she? 90. Abraham was 99. She was 90. And she says, what? And she starts laughing. She says, I am old. How will I ever have children? This doesn't make sense. And she starts laughing. And that's why she calls her baby Yitzchak. And that's one of the foundations of the Jewish people, that people think things are impossible against us, and we tell them there's no impossible. When it comes to God, when it comes to the Jewish people, there's no impossible. The Jews are finished, says Khamenei, or however you pronounce his funny name. Right? The Jews are finished. You know what I'm talking about? Yes. So he says the Jews are finished. They have lost. Israel's lost its war. Oh, really? He said these words. Whatever they say, the exact opposite. He said, we've now seen that we got Israel on their knees. Israel and the US on their knees. And it's a small little Hamas has brought Israel and America on their knees. Dude, no one would give two hoots if Gaza was in China. No one would care if Gaza was in any other place in the entire world. The only reason why you exist is because of the Jews. And the only reason people are still looking at you is because you're next door to the Jews. And because you're fighting the Jews. Your only existence is because of us. Finish us, never happened. Think you can finish us, and then you will finish yourselves. You will not exist. Your only existence, the only reason why, do you know how many wars are happening in the world? Many. So exactly what he says is exactly the opposite. Anyway, it's comedy, it's irony. But that is the first story of comedy was with Sarah Imenu, Sarah. And she said, how can that be? And she laughed, because it's not possible. So when the impossible becomes possible, that's what brings us to laughter. Okay, so here's another point about laughter. Laughter is a moment when you're able to have a bigger perspective. Somebody who's very narrow-minded can't really have a genuine sense of laughter. And what I mean by that is that, let me give you an example. If a child hurts himself or herself, cuts the finger, and they start crying, and they say, I want a plaster, I want a, Band-Aid. And I say, sorry, I'm from England. So, no, I'm sorry twice for that. Once for the way I pronounced it, and second for the fact that I'm from there. So he says, I want a Band-Aid, he's bleeding, and then he starts crying, and he can't get out the cry. I quickly go, I get a Band-Aid here, and then I wash it, and then I say, actually, I have to dry it first, right? Because otherwise the Band-Aid won't stick. You know the drill. So I fix it, and then still crying. So I say, I think we need to go to the doctor. So some kids cry more, but what happens a lot of times is the child says, it's not that bad. Whoa, it could be much worse. Whoa, I could be going to the doctor now? They suddenly realize that what they were thinking as the end of the world is not the end of the world, and then they stop crying. When somebody has a bigger perspective, that this is not the end of the world, they are able to laugh. They're able to laugh. Right? If you have a bigger perspective, then you can laugh. If you don't, if you're stuck in your problem, you can't laugh. And that's a very important thing, because that's how we survive. Okay? The child in us sees the moment and can't laugh. The adult in us sees the bigger picture and is okay with laughing even if I'm challenged. Does this make sense? Being able to see a bigger picture means that you can laugh. And it's a sign of maturity. So let's say you go to work one morning, let's say, because everyone's working remote nowadays. So one day you decide, okay, it's a new thing now, it's in fashion, I like to work in the office. So you decide to go to the office where no one else is working because they're all working remote. And on the way, you get yourself a nice coffee, you iron your shirt, you wear, you put on the nice pants that you have. Oh, reminds me of a story. I went to a wedding a few months ago, and I put everything in my case. We had a huge party the night before. I put everything in my case, and I ironed my shirt, and I walk out. The night before, we had a massive party. It was Purim party, or one of the big parties. And I walk out from my house it was a Lag BaOmer party. I walk out of my house, and someone got me a ticket, first class. I'm going to the wedding, excited, wow, this first time in first class. And I get to the airport of where I'm meant to go, in Baltimore, for the wedding. And I was late, the flight was delayed. I have to quickly go and get changed in the airport. I find this gorgeous toilet, that doesn't make sense for you. I found this amazing bathroom in Baltimore airport, believe it or not. Beautiful, I'm like, perfect, I'm gonna get changed here. I open my case, and I just see a shirt. I took off my clothes, I'm in the bathroom trying to get ready. I just see a shirt, I'm like, great. I completely forgot to put my suit inside. So that happens. Things are messed up. So let's say you're going to work, and you finally decide to go to work, you get your shirt on, and you get yourself, you make sure it's ironed well, you get in the car, the music's playing, right? You're on your way, you say, you know what, today I'm going to treat myself, I'm going to Starbucks coffee, pay another $10 for a bit of dirty water. So you go and get yourself a Starbucks coffee, and you spill the coffee on your shirt. Oi! Great. Then you look down, and you're like, oh, this is the worst. Then you look, oh my gosh, my socks. I'm meant to be looking, presentable. They're completely off color. I've got the wrong socks. They don't even match. You have two options. You can either look at the situation and just be really grumpy now and like mad with your situation, or you can start laughing at it. And somebody who's able to laugh is a sign of maturity, because you're able to see the bigger, wider picture of your situation. It's not the end of the world. I'll make it. It's fine. I'll go there anyway. No one's in the office now because everyone's remote. So actually, I have nothing to worry about, right? I'm just giving a funny example. No one's laughing. So, okay, that's the idea. The ability to see funny is a sign of maturity. It means I won't let small things ruin my day. I won't let the small stuff that bothers me ruin my day. Because someone who does is someone who lets all their problems control them, narrow-minded. Someone who's able to laugh at a situation, open-minded. So you gotta laugh. You better laugh. Okay? This is a time where you need to laugh. Or let's say somebody comes to work and he realizes his shoelace tears. Oh no, he tries to knot it, doesn't help, he's like stuck. So he just takes off the shoelace, one's with the shoelace, the other one's without. Nowadays it's fashion anyway to just take off your shoelace and throw them in the trash and walk around with shoes that just, right? Everything's in fashion. Torn jeans, fashion. Pants down, it's fashion. So here also, the socks, different colors, and you're walking, the guy with the shoelace, his shoelace is off. What's he do? He can be really depressed about his situation. Oh my gosh, they're going to all look at me. What they're going to say? That they're going to say you look so stupid. Or I can think. And the more mature person will think, thank God I can walk. This is a small problem. This should be the only problem I have. And they're able to laugh at the situation as well. Okay? Make sense? Question for everyone. Does laughing mean, based on what I said, that you're ignoring your problems? No. What's the difference?
You're just coping with your problems.
Okay, you're not ignoring your problem. The biggest problem will be you dig deeper and deeper into your problem that you can't get out of it. Right? That's the biggest. So being able to laugh is actually being able to see perspective. Okay? Not pitying yourself. Not saying, oh, I'm the worst, I'm broken, how am I ever going to get out of this? Actually, I'm stuck and I'm going to get out of this situation by laughter. So laughter can help you. It's not laughter to run away from a situation. It's laughter to help me in my situation. Okay? There are cases, and we're going to be talking about where laughter is bad, but laughter to help me in my situation is good, and you should pursue it. We want you to laugh. Okay, that's what it means. Mi'ut tzchok. Reducing laughter, but don't cut out your laughter completely. Okay? Next. Have you ever been... This is the next point. So the first point we said so far is laughter when you have a bigger perspective. We said, what is laughter? Okay? Now we're talking about laughter in moments of tension. Ooh. Have you ever been to a amusement park? Anyone? Yeah? Okay, very nice. So you've been to an amusement park. You go into like a haunted area and there's like... and then you go in and it's like a train, it takes you in, and you go down and it's like all these interesting things are popping out. Woo! And what happens? You start. Why do we laugh? Because there's a little tension in us. All of a sudden, this monster came out of nowhere, electrical, mechanical thing, and you're sitting there and you're like on that water train, I'm thinking of, not Six Flags, the other one, Knott's Berry Farm, which ride I'm talking about? Knott's Berry Farm, the ride that they have in the water and all these scary stuff come out. Okay, I did it. I was more scared than my kids. Whatever, another story. But anyway, what happened? Why do we laugh? Because there's tension. And as soon as there's tension, we laugh it off in order to deal with it. And that's what happens a lot in our life. So sometimes we have tension, so we laugh in order to get rid of the tension. Have you ever seen a bunch of teenagers? I have one, thank God. I hope she's not listening. Have you ever seen a bunch of teenagers, like mainly by girls, they're all sitting together, and then all of a sudden their dad walks in and they all start giggling, right? You ever seen you can imagine such a scene, right? It happens to me. So what happens in that moment? Why are they laughing? The answer is, they're laughing because there's a certain sense of tension. I'm not that scary, that's what I think, but there's a certain sense of tension. What's the tension? Oh my gosh, he's here, daddy's here, oh, my friends are seeing, I don't know what they're going to think. You're very self-conscious when you're a teenager. So there's a certain moment of tension, they laugh. Or if, let's say, there's a bunch of girls hanging out, and then one of the guys, same age, or similar age, walks past. And what do the girls do? Yeah, they start giggling. Why? Because it's a moment of tension. In a moment of tension, one of our ways to cope with it is to naturally laugh. That's good. Okay, what was the first joke that the Jewish people made? Do you know? It's actually in this week's Torah. This is why I made this class. The first joke that the Jewish people made. So they're running away from Egypt. 10 plagues, right? Egypt is pretty much done. And Pharaoh's sitting on his chariot, his horses, and he's got 600 chariots following with him. And they're chasing after the Jews. And the Jews are running away. And they are going forward and forward. But then they get stuck in front of what? The Yam Suf, the sea. So they've got the sea in front of them, and they've got the Egyptians behind them. And what do? They turn to Moses and they say, are there no burial sites in Egypt that we need to be buried in the desert? It's not a very funny joke. So that was a joke. So listen to what Rabbi Shimshon Raphael Hirsch says. He says, note how even in their moment of fear and despair, a moment of real tension, life-threatening tension, the Jewish people spoke with sharp irony. Irony is meant to be a joke, demonstrating a deep-seated wit inherent in the Jewish people.
Well, God also does that.
Yes.
He literally answers with the wit as well.
Yes. So, exactly. We are using wit in order to cope with tension. And that has been one of our mechanisms throughout history. Guess what? Even when someone's telling a class, it says in the Talmud that the great Rav would stand and give a class and teach. He would start with what we call mili de b'tichuta. He would start with words of humor, jokes. Why? Why do you think he did that? Yeah, eases the tension, gets everyone to listen. It opens the heart. Oh, wow, it's relatable. There's something here that I want to hear. So a joke is a way of opening up a conversation, releasing that tension so that people will be willing to enjoy their time with you. A joke is a way of connecting. Okay? So you bet that laughter is something that we want, and we do. Okay, I'll give you another example of that you can use as well. So I was set for a meeting with someone who's pretty important, and like always, Jewish time. So, I came late, and it wasn't the first time, and this time it was an important man, and I should have been on time, but I was busy with someone else at a meeting before, and I didn't know how to say goodbye. It's one of my issues. If anyone wants to help me, you can tell me how I can do that. Like, I gotta go. Oh no, but Rabbi, one more question. So actually, please, by the way, I don't want this. If you ever have a question, stay and ask me as long as you want. That's my nature. I want to hear. I want to talk. That's how I work. I don't want to get out of this. So anyway, so the guy was talking to me, and I was late. So I went to the next meeting, and I was late for this important man that I needed to meet. And he's older, and he says to me, "You're late." I said, "Oh no, I'm very sorry. I apologize." He said, "It's not okay. I came here, I drove here, and I wasn't that late, by the way, okay? You're looking at me as if I was like 2 hours later. I wasn't that late, but the guy did come a long way. He's an older man, and he wanted to meet me, and I was late. So he was a little upset. And I said, "You're right." And then am I going to say, "You're wrong"? He's right. He's right. He's right. And I smiled, and after he gave me his rebuke a few times, okay, I'm sorry. And then we moved on to the conversation. And I realized that was the start of tension. So for him, he felt a little bad because he repeated himself a few times to me that I'm late. So it was a start of a little bit of tension. So at some point I realized, okay, I've got to throw a funny joke. And at some point during the conversation, he was talking about the addiction to sugar. And by the way, this is not anything to do with my diet, okay? This is another story. Nothing to do with the fact that I've been on my 1,500 diet. This is not a therapist. So he starts talking about sugar and how damaging it can be. And he was talking about this test that they did with rats. Have you heard about this? That they did cocaine versus sugar, and they fed. Yeah, you heard about this? So 9 out of 10 rats went running for the sugar as opposed to the cocaine. So I said, oh, that's interesting. So what was that one stoner rat that went for the cocaine? I want to find out about that one because I need to know what his genes are. Like what's in that rat? I forget the 9 rats that went for the sugar. What's in that one rat that wanted the cocaine more than sugar? So anyway, he laughed, and then that opened up the conversation. It somehow eased the tension. Everything was fine again. He was laughing, and everything was funny. So it's important to make a joke when there's tension, not at the person. You have to wait. Okay, so let me give you a few examples. Tension. If, let's say, someone's in a bad mood, definitely don't try and make a joke at them, like, hey, and they're like really in a bad mood. That's the worst. It says you shouldn't look at a person whilst he's angry. So if someone's in a bad mood and he's tense, the last thing you want to do is make a joke with them. But it is important to be able to get somebody away from their situation by somehow, over a certain amount of time, bringing in a certain sense of humor. Very important, so that they can get out of their space of brokenness and move away and get out of that tension. It's really important to be able to do that. Okay? Or if you yourself, you've got a test that you have to do, and you're doing a test. So there's a way to deal with that tension. Okay? Make a joke. Okay? At least, if I fail, so I hope at least I won't get the Guinness Book of Records for the worst failure ever in history. At least I hope I get one right. Something like that, which would ease the tension of your pressure. Which reminds me that, if Aish is listening, no, I'm joking. We have a green card, but I do need to get eventually at some point a citizenship, and I'm going to have to take a test on all these stupid questions of how America was started and founded and whatever. So, or the Constitution, which I'm still confused about because everyone's screaming so much about it from either side of the spectrum, political spectrum. I'm not sure what it is. I mean, they're so polar opposites. How do you both have the same constitution? But never mind. We are going to have to take a test. And you bet I'm going to make some jokes as I'm taking that test. Okay, so there's always importance. I remember, okay, I don't know if you'll accept this joke. People get very offended in America. Don't get offended, okay? I'm telling you up front. So I remember once going for a Shabbat in a house before I got married, and the husband, he didn't have thumbs. So he was like cutting, he didn't have thumbs, whatever it was. But it was an awkward moment because he had the challah, and he was cutting the challah. So the wife, and everyone was just quiet, and his wife says, oh, mind your fingers. So he turns around, he says, well, I don't have any. So, and that made everyone laugh, and that eased the tension. I know that people here will get offended by that, but in England, that's really good humor. That's really funny. Okay. Because if it's about yourself, it's fine. Okay. Oh, mind the phone. Do you have to kiss your phone when it falls on the floor? Depends if you use it as a siddur or not. All right, Jewish joke. So, Jewish survival. That was our greatest way to survive, was by making jokes. Who do we know that from? Sigmund Freud. You know that guy? Sigmund Freud. He said Jewish humor is a sophisticated defense mechanism. Sounds about right? I don't know. Whatever. He wasn't religious, so I'm just putting... No, I'm joking. Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning, in 1946. He wrote that book in 1946. Can you imagine? He went through the camps, and he wrote that book of Man's Search for Meaning. And what did he say? He says like this, listen to this. One by one, the illusions that some of us still clung to were shattered. They lost everything. But suddenly, unexpectedly, a faint sense of humor took hold of most of us. We realized that we had nothing left to lose except our ridiculous naked lives. These are quotes from him. When the water began to flow from the showers, we all tried to amuse ourselves, to laugh at ourselves and at each other. After all, water, real water, was flowing from the faucets. That is a way, to us, it's like, what? How do you even... But in them, for them, that was their moment of life. It gave them life. When they were stuck, they were not sure what's coming out of the showers, and they were able to find humor in that moment, it was what gave them so much life. And he talks about using humor as a way to survive. And that's our history as well. That's another thing. Okay, but on a deeper level, why do we laugh? When we, as a Jewish people, even when we go and we have challenges, yes, it's true, it's a coping mechanism, but there's a deeper reason. Listen to what Rav Kook wrote. He wrote in his book, In Ayah, Jews are capable of using humor in the hardest moments because deep down, perhaps even unconsciously, they know that everything will ultimately be okay. There's a bigger picture. That although, yes, things are very difficult in the physical world, on a spiritual level, I can laugh. Because there's a much higher purpose than all this. Remember the child versus the adult? The child is focused on this. It hurts, it hurts, it hurts. The adult is able to see the bigger picture. So that's what Rav Kook says, that when someone is on a spiritual reality, he can laugh in the most difficult of situations because he knows that there's a bigger picture than what I'm going through. Make sense? Okay, what about laughing to fight insanity? This is, again, another thing that's very good. If you want to fight evil, insanity, things that are wrong, you need to laugh at it in order to not get sucked into it. There are things in this world that people do that are wrong. You don't judge the people, it's a little dangerous. You don't laugh at the person, but you laugh at that moral standpoint. You laugh at that life view, that way of living. Okay? For instance, this is very important and this should be done. Okay? Remember though, it can be a little dangerous because you can easily laugh at the person. But we don't want to do that. We don't laugh at people. They are real and they are creations of God. We're laughing at that way of thinking or that way of life, and that's important. Okay? So idolizing someone. We should laugh at that. Oh my gosh, that's Will Smith. Right? Oh, I need to meet him. When can you sign my paper? No way. I met Will Smith and I never asked him to sign a paper. I said, oh, you look like Will Smith. He said, sure am. And he didn't give me a slap. Can you believe it? And he said hello and I spoke to him. And then I was walking off and then someone was like, you didn't get it. Someone there that was there nearby because there were other people starting to come around. He was on a set. You know where this was? On Roxbury Drive next to you know where the Fox, what's it called? Rancho Park. So there on Mirror Road by the Rancho Park, they were doing a movie on tennis. I don't know what he did a movie a few years ago. And I was there running, doing a jog, and I see him. I literally walked straight into him, like, yo, you look like Will Smith. He said, yeah, I am. So, but someone said, you should have got him sign something. No, I'm not going to get him sign something. He should sign my letter. He should get my signature, not I get his signature. You know what? Because I'm a Jew and I have also a life. What? He goes to the bathroom, I go to the bathroom. He makes a movie and I teach Torah. Okay? So very nice. So he inspires people to be bad boys and I inspire people to be good boys. Huh? What do you think about that? So anyway, that's the difference between perspective. Laugh at idolizing. Why should I idolize someone else's voice? Great, they sing nicely, and great if they inspire me in their music, that would be nice. It doesn't happen. It normally doesn't inspire you. It makes you feel like you need it, he broke me, and it's all about how I miss him, and I miss her, and it touches my heart, right? It's always about how there's missing love, and there's a love going on that you're dreaming of, but it's not happening, That's a lot of what the music's about. Anyway, without making fun of pop culture too much, right? If I am dreaming about somebody that's not my wife, that's not going to give me anything, that's a problem. I'm idolizing something that's not... I should laugh at it. And laughing at it is important. You know why? Because it means that I'm not going to get sucked in to that mentality, because it's easy for you to get sucked in. Laughing is not only a defense mechanism, laughing can be a shield. It can be a shield from things that are not good for you. Okay? Or if, let's say, an arguing, that's not good. Can you imagine you see a couple and you say, oh my gosh, they're so in love with each other. Yeah, they hold each other. They can't even separate when they go to the store, the grocery store. He's busy trying to get something, but he doesn't want to let go of her hand, and his other hand's already got a bottle of juice, so what's he going to do? So he tries to hold her hand and then get something like that, drop it into the cart, still holding it, because don't dare let go of that hand, because you're in love. Is that true? Let me see you when you wake up in the morning, when no one's watching, and no one's around, and you get up from bed, and you say, honey, give me a hand, come out of bed with me, and walk down and come to get breakfast. Do you know what it is? It's a show. It's showing love in public, but does that mean there's love at home? Not necessarily. Okay? So we need to laugh at things that people do to give off an impression externally of what is real when it's not. Let me ask you a question. If you have a couple that's all touching each other and everyone's like, wow, ooh, right? They are so in love, right? And they give the impression, ooh. But suddenly something goes wrong in the relationship. She makes you a food that's completely sour, like doesn't taste good. And you start eating it and you're like, babe, that doesn't taste like food. What the heck did you put in there? Right? And you start looking at it and you're like, hey, what is this? So there goes somebody who is really good at expressing love on the outside, but is that real love if you can't express it on the inside? What's more important? Someone who touches somebody all the time and shows great love by holding each other's hand in public, but then has huge arguments in the house, or somebody who doesn't necessarily flex their love in public, but has a lot of respect in the house. Huh? The food doesn't taste good, but he's like, wow, what flavors. So many flavors in here. Right? When she's not looking, he's like, I taste plastic. But, the flavors, all types, things I've never tasted before. Right? So that's called somebody with love. She made the food. You don't like it, but at least give a good compliment. That's called real love. Not when you publicize it by holding someone. That's fake. That's fake. It's only done because people are watching. It's only because I'm in public. Okay? Have perspective. Laugh at things that are not real. And that are real, you should really allow yourself to absorb them and let them come in. But things that are not good, that are not real, don't let them, and laugh at them. Laughing is good for it. Okay? Did you know? Fighting. Laugh at arguments. Somebody's the other day, I literally, he was honking before it went green. I don't get it. It went green, it was still red, he's honking at me. I'm not even on my phone. Have you been on the guy now? Recently, the light goes green, the guy's still stuck at the light because everyone's on their phone. You not noticed that recently? It's happening all the time, again and again. So he thinks I'm on my phone. I'm not on my phone. I'm here, I'm ready, I want to go. So he's honking before he goes green. And then I'm thinking to myself, okay, this guy is in such a rush. Wow. I move a bit to the side, goes straight. I'm like, what is that guy going to do when he gets home? Huh? Back to Netflix? So, and I'm thinking to myself, wow. It's amazing how sometimes we're so in a rush. We're road rage. Angry. We're in a rush. How dare he wait? And I'm in a rush. I don't want to be stuck on this road with the garbage in front of me. Not for 1 minute. I'll do a reverse. I'll go on the other road, but I'm not going to stay on this road behind the garbage truck. No way. And then the guy gets home, and what does he do? He sits on his couch after that whole stressful drive. Ooh, now it's Instagram time. So all of that fighting and anxiousness and heart pain and anger, for what? To come home and to just do nothing? Wow, that's pretty amazing. Wouldn't it be better to not have any arguments, no road rage, no anger, come up 5 minutes later and have 5 minutes less on social media. And then your heart will be a little healthier. Make sense? Okay, so there's a lot of things that we do that they have irony. Doesn't make sense. Okay, this is something that we should laugh at. There are many, many examples I have of things that don't make sense, but we do them. Here's another, right? The desire to have so much money. I'm not going to get married until I have this house and this amount of money and this car and this, right? The desire for luxury, a dive for stuff. You know that feeling? So some people are very addicted, but you ever wonder like how luxury can actually end up having the lack of luxury? You know, the person that has the beautiful speed car, he's like driving his, you know, he's got his Ferrari, and then he goes on a speed bump. Oh, no. Those speed cars, they can't go on speed bumps. Right? And then he's got like the sparks come out the front. Why? Because he spent $500,000 on a car, but it can't even go over a speed bump. Right? So luxury sometimes has irony. You desire it so much, but it doesn't even give you what you actually need. Or the person that wants to have, a beautiful, a beautiful bag and spend so much money on it that there's no money left to have money in the bag. You know, that can happen. So there's an irony in the desire for stuff that gets you nowhere. It doesn't even get you the thing that you want. Or fashion. Okay. Fashion, that's a funny one. People will do anything to look good, even freeze. Take off their clothes, just to look good. So that, it's freezing, -10 outside. But, the main thing is people will like the way I look. So, laughing at insanity makes you get not caught up in it. And it helps you. Now, before we finish, we have a few more minutes, I'll tell you cases, these are all times where you should laugh. And we'll go over this. There's times where you should not laugh. Okay? One is to laugh at someone, ridicule. Okay? Don't laugh at people. Do you know why? You laugh at someone, you're hurting their soul. Don't hurt someone's soul. Right? Their inner sense is being hurt. When someone's worried or in pain, don't laugh at their pain. I remember I sat with someone the first time I did outreach in Oregon when I was 27, and someone came to me and he's like, Rabbi, I need to meet you. I said, okay, no problem. No, now. I come. I was in another place. I said, okay. I went, I sat with him, and he's like, my dog died. And I was like, really? To myself, I'm like, all this for a dog? Because I was just new. I would never do that now. Now I would probably even be a little teary for him. Because somebody who's very, very close to a dog, but in my eyes, I never had a pet. So in my eyes, I never knew what it meant. That's called laughing at someone. If I would, for 1 minute, laugh at him, saying, you made me come all this way for a dog, then what I'm doing is I'm laughing at his pain, and I don't know what he's going through. For him, it's everything. His dog was everything. And by the way, I had a similar feeling, because we had chickens, and an opossum came a few days later and ripped them all open apart, 5 of them. And I had to bury the chickens. And then I had chicken for dinner. All right, anyway, let's move on. Not those chickens, but the chickens that... Okay, so ridiculing, sorry if you're a vegan over here. Any vegans over here? Sorry. The first thing is laughing at someone that is at someone. Never do that. Second thing is excessive laughter. You must not have excessive laughter. Do you know what excessive laughter means? Laughing to escape reality. Not laughing to deal with the reality, to escape it. Or what we call misplaced laughter. Do you know what misplaced laughter means? Destroying meaning. Something that's meaningful, laughing at it. That's a problem also. Okay? And we have also negative laughter. Negative laughter is toxic. Here's an example. Oh, I've got to go to the DMV. Oh, I'll have to take work. I'll have to take off work for a week to go to the DMV. Why? Because it takes forever in line over there. That kind of sense, if you have to go to the DMV, you have to go anyway. Don't add negativity and jokes of negativity in a place that you have to go anyway. It's just going to make that place and that experience horrible. Okay? So negativity hurts you. It doesn't hurt anybody else but yourself. So joking, cynical jokes about things that you have to do and your life is not funny. It sounds funny, it's a way of laughing, but it's not good because it makes you negative. Or sarcasm. What, you're going to run the marathon? No way. Right? That's not normal. Or I say, oh, I'm normally on time. And then someone says, yeah, Jewish time. Right? So, it's funny, but it's not funny because you're being sarcastic. You're laughing at somebody, and does that give them compliments? Will that give you friendship? No. Some people do that. They think they're funny, but they're being sarcastic about someone. We said, never laugh at people. If you're making jokes about them, what you're doing is you're bringing them down. Ooh, they won't like you. The way to make people like you is to give them compliments, not to make silly jokes about the fact that they're never on time. Okay? Even if it's true. No, I am on time. So, okay, there's many other examples, but anything that's negative, dirty jokes, is negative. The rabbis say that laughter and lightheadedness makes a person lose morality, especially in the area of sexuality as well. Meaning you start making jokes about things that are serious and dirty jokes, you lose all sense of what's right and what's wrong. Because we said that laughter is a shield. It can be a shield against evil, but it can also be a shield against good. Okay? Things that are off limits, like never laugh at Hashem or a Jew. Okay? That he's very into his Jewish journey. Someone who's idealistic. Oh, what? You're donating so much of your time for charity? Oh, I hope you have some money left for yourself. Right? Anything like that is not funny, and especially because it's somebody doing something good. If somebody's doing something good, like an ideal, giving up money in order to do good, then that you must never laugh at, because you should respect it. For me, let's say I see someone learning and he's got the worst voice and he's speaking it out and his voice is like, oh, right? Never laugh at that person because he's doing great things. You don't like it, you do it. Don't laugh at godly stuff. Let someone else do it. Somebody else that doesn't come to Aish who laughs at religion, let him laugh at it. You don't laugh at Judaism because it's about God and it's serious. It's about life. Life is serious. Okay. There are things in life which are serious. That's what we're saying. Don't, like imagine a funeral home and everyone's sitting there and they're sad, and then all of a sudden you come in, whip the door open. Hey, what's up? I'm here. Right? That doesn't make sense. That will be off. There's times for everything. Et lismoach, et lirkod, et le'ehov. There's a time to be happy, to dance, to love. There's a time for everything. And there's a time for laughter also. Okay? Finally, my final point. What is God's way of laughing? What is the world? It's one big joke. It's false. The rabbis say that sheker, falsehood, is very easy to find. And truth is harder to find. That's why the letters of truth, emet, are far away from each other. But the letters of lie, falsehood, are close. You walk around in this world and evil prospers. You can actually wave a flag and say, I want to be a terrorist, and then say that Jews are genocidal when you are wanting genocide. It doesn't make sense. This world doesn't make sense. And then people will support falsehood versus truth. How does that even make sense? So this whole place is confusing. But we believe that when we're able to plug into the higher worlds, everything's the other way around. Really, it's just a test. This is how we build ourselves in this world, where we don't see that the righteous, good people are successful, and sometimes we don't see how bad people get what they deserve. They succeed, and it doesn't make sense. Why are bad people succeeding? We're left with this big question. And that's in order to test me. If all good people will succeed and all bad people will fail, would you have choice to be a good person? No way. You'll only want to be good. You'll never want to do bad. So this world is a world of test, and we have to fight for truth. And that's why this world is a place of what we say in the future, in the times of Mashiach. The Jewish belief is that in the future, we will have a big laugh. We will laugh a lot. And we'll laugh at how everything comes around and everything makes sense. And V'nav Fuchu, it will be very similar to the story of Purim, where the person that tried to kill the Jews, Haman, he built a huge gallows, 50 amot tall. He had a palace, his own palace. He took down his palace and he built, because he said there's no wood big enough to build a gallows, what's it called? The place where you hang someone. A gallows. There's no wood long enough to have a gallows that the whole city of Shushan can see. There's only one place where I know where there's a big enough piece of wood, and that's my own house. The main beam of my house is long enough. He had his mansion. He was one of the biggest. He was the king, one of the kings of Persia. He takes off. He destroys his house. He says, I'll build another one. Takes out the main piece of wood of his house, plonks it in the middle of his home, makes his whole home a parking lot, and he says, I'm going to hang Mordechai, the head of the Jews, on this, and everyone's going to see it. And what happens at the end of the story? Haman gets hanged on it. That's called the last laugh. At the end of the day, everyone's living and surviving and working and pushing, but we will have the greatest laugh. As Yimale Schok Pinu, at the end, our mouths will be filled with joy and laughter. We would actually be laughing. Why? Because the world goes in one direction, and then we see it turns in the other. We all thought, oh no, and then wow, there was a bigger picture. And there is a bigger picture to this world. Don't ever get pulled in to these comments of depression, that we're doomed, that there's no hope. No, there is. There's a bigger picture. And it may seem it's going this direction, but always in history, it turns the other way, and it will continue to do that in the future. Anyway, okay, I didn't make you laugh so much, but I'm sure I hope I made you inspired. All right, thank you for listening. Any questions? You can ask.